Welcome to the A to Z Analytics channel, where I plan to share my knowledge of data analytics and business intelligence through Microsoft Excel and Tableau. I hope you enjoy this video and learn something valuable. If you hit the subscribe button and enable notifications, you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded, which I'll be doing on a weekly basis. A lot of Excel users are familiar with use of VLOOKUP to find data in one table based upon known data in another cell. VLOOKUP and its close relation HLOOKUP have their limitations. Firstly, they are easily disrupted when columns or rows change in the data source. Also, working out the target column or row number is not as easy as it could be. In addition, the target column cannot be to the left of the values being looked up, and you can only look up based on a single dimension. Today I will be talking about the combinations of index and match, which can be used to overcome these issues. I'll mostly be talking about index and match as a replacement for VLOOKUP. If you are not too familiar with VLOOKUP, you may want to watch that video first. So today I will cover basic index and match syntax, vertical versus horizontal use, two-way index and match, two-column index and match, and some practical examples along the way. So what is index and match? Index and match are two simple formulas which are powerful when combined. Index returns the result from a range when given a row number, and match returns a row number when a lookup value is searched for in a range. When combined, match gives index the row number to return the result. As we can see here, the syntax for index and match is equals, index, column to return result from, match, lookup value, lookup column, and the optional parameter. In comparison to VLOOKUP, the range to return result from is equivalent to the column number. Lookup value is the same in both. The range to lookup value in is a single column where the lookup value can be found. The optional parameters default to 1, which is an approximate match. I would recommend to use 0 when starting out to find exact matches. The approximate match parameter should probably be saved for more advanced use. So to begin with, I'm using the same data which I used to explain VLOOKUPs. If we have a table which contains price data for a number of products, we may want to look up that price when we know the product of interest. I have created this table with a list of fruit and their prices. Below that I have cells named fruit and price, and below fruit I could enter the name of a fruit, and in the cell adjacent I will place my index and match formula to look up the price of the fruit based on the entry in the adjacent cell. If we look at my formula in detail, we can see the syntax and what that reference is. We can see that after the index, the array we're going to return the result from is E4 to E6, which is where the prices are located, as highlighted in blue here. Looking at the assistance box, we can see that that is the array, and that the row number will be returned by the match result. If we click into the match formula, we can see the lookup value we want is D10, which is highlighted in red here and hidden behind this formula. And the lookup array is the name of the fruits here in D4 to D6. The match type is the optional parameter, and I want an exact match, so I have left that as 0. We can see here that the price result returned is 75 cents, which is the price of the oranges as per this table. If I update this to be apple, we can see that the price updates to be 50 cents, as shown in the table here. As with VLOOKUPs, duplicates in the column within which you are looking for the lookup value could give erroneous results. You may need a helper column or other key to identify unique rows. Another key point to note is that unlike VLOOKUP, where you select the entire data range, you are selecting two different ranges. For this to work correctly, you need to ensure that both ranges align, i.e. they start and finish in the same row. Otherwise, the result shown will not match the lookup with which you are concerned. So within the lookup syntax there are optional arguments. We know that they are optional as they are shown in square brackets. In the case of lookups, match type is the optional argument, and you have the option of 1, approximate match, or 0, exact match. The default, if you omit to add this, is 1, which may not return the desired result, so in the majority of cases I would use 0 to ensure an exact match. If you are going to use 1, then the data will need to be sorted, as if it fails to find an exact match, the closest result will be returned. One example of when you may want to return an approximate match is if you are looking up tax rates based on salary. It would be a lengthy and probably impossible task to create a table with all the possible salaries that may exist. Therefore, you could create a table with the upper banding limit aligned to the tax rates and look up the tax rates in this table. Again, it is important to ensure the values are ordered smallest salary to largest and using the upper banding number. To use index and match horizontally, i.e. return a value from a column rather than a row, is a simple adjustment. When using as a VLOOKUP, the range to return a result from and range to find the lookup values in were both columns of a sheet or table. We just need to change them both to rows. As an example, I may have a table which shows prices from apples from different suppliers, with the suppliers across the top row. To find the price from a given supplier, I've used the formula index, row to return a result from, match, lookup value, lookup row, and the optional parameter. Once again, we can look at my formula in more detail. In this case, rather than specifying a narrow range, I've specified the whole row. I've specified to return the result from row 4 when looking up the value in row 3. We may also want to look up different fruits by different suppliers, or in other words, two-way index and match. So this is where index and match get even more interesting. What I'm about to show you is essentially a combination of VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP in one formula. In the last example, I had the price of apples by supplier, and in the initial example, I had the price of different fruits by a single supplier. It would not be uncommon to have this information in a single table or matrix, as we have here. Fruit is in the rows, and suppliers across the columns. So we may want to find the price of a particular fruit from a particular supplier. To do this using index and match, we need to extend the formula to become equals index, range to return result from, comma, match, fruit lookup value, lookup column, optional parameter, comma, match, supplier lookup value, lookup row, and the optional parameter. We can look at my formula in more detail. So we can see the index has become a range, E4 to F6, which is 2 columns by 3 rows. And we want to match D10, which is the fruit, with D4 to D6, returning the row from that, and then match E10, which is the supplier, with the range E3, F3, i.e. supplier 1 or supplier 2, which column they are in. As we can see here, I already have banana as the fruit and supplier 2, and the result returned is 96 cents. If I update this to be supplier 1, we get the new result, $1. And similarly, if I update this to be apple, I get the result for supplier 1 as 50 cents. So essentially what is happening here is that we are using match to find the row number for the fruit, the column number for the supplier, and returning the result where they intersect. In my video on removing duplicates, I used a similar dataset which had multiple apples but also had barcodes. The barcodes are a practical example of where a unique key may exist for data. I have modified that data to show fruit prices for a single supplier which has unique barcodes for every row. In other words, each variety of the fruit has its own barcode. We can use another variation of index and match to find a given fruit with a given barcode from the table. The syntax for that is index, range to return result from, match, barcode lookup value, and or ampersand, fruit lookup value, comma, barcode lookup column, ampersand, fruit lookup column, and then finally closing with the optional parameter. Once again, we will look at my formula in more detail. So we can see that after the index, we are returning the result from the cells E3 to E6, which is where the prices are located. And we want to match the barcode in C9 and the fruit in D9 with the column combination of C3 to D6, of C3 to C6, and the fruit of D3 to D6. One point to note if you look at the syntax is that the formula is enclosed in curly brackets. This means that it's an array formula. If you press enter after entering the formula, you will get a value error. This is because we haven't added the array brackets. To add the array brackets, we will need to hold Ctrl-Shift as we press enter. If you look at the formula bar now, you can see that curly brackets exist and the result shows us 85 cents. Now if I update the formula to be A1234, it will return the result 50 cents to match the result from row 1. If we have a combination which doesn't exist, such as banana and the barcode A1234, we will get an NA result. Once you have practiced and understand the application of index and match, there are further ways you can expand and modify the lookups. You could expand the last method to look up different suppliers as well by performing a two-way lookup at the same time. Further to this, if you add countries as another level of detail on your suppliers, you could create a two-way, two-level lookup. Some caution may be needed depending on the size of your dataset, as the performance may be impacted when there is a large number of these array calculations required. Similarly to what I covered in the end of the video on Intro to Logic, you may wish to wrap your lookups in an if-NA formula. This changes the output from an error to your desired output. This may occur if your lookup value does not appear in the lookup range. As such, it would be equals if-NA, the lookup formula, comma, the result if lookup formula returns NA. Your return result could be the reference of another cell, a fixed value, text enclosed in quotation marks, or even a pair of quotation marks which will display a blank cell as I have got here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learnt from it. I'd be grateful if you could hit the like button to give the video a thumbs up, as it really helps spread the word. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please subscribe so you can be notified of when more videos are uploaded. You'll also find more videos if you head over to my channel. If you have any questions, feedback or topics you would like covered, then please leave a comment below and I'll respond. I love feedback and learning from others. All the best, Aaron.